Wow.
Spooky.
That was so spooky. I got chills.
Spooky, spooky, spooky.
There you go.
Welcome
There you go.
to the Rag Company podcast, where it's essentially become a morning show.
It feels like that.
Levi and myself here just dropping in.
Dane and Levi in the morning.
Yeah.
Drive time, getting you guys ready.
Well, you know, we got your traffic, we got your weather.
It's mostly rainy.
Yeah, it's mostly just rain. So, anyway, housekeeping. How are we doing?
Dane, well, that is a great question. No, literally, the sale, I believe, is still going on.
Okay.
I think we run it till Tuesday. I'm not sure. But as far as I recall, I believe we were going to run it till the end of today.
Okay.
First part of Tuesday, like ends Tuesday morning kind of thing.
Yeah.
We wanted the Halloween sale to be able to run long enough that everybody could get in there, get it going. So, yes, it is still running.
Nice.
Now through the 25th. So make sure that if you haven't gotten your items that you want to get, hop on those, get the mystery bag, get the little Shop of Pourers,
There's
the
still
Shining
time.
Kit, the Exor Twist, any of those kits, great deals. You can also still hopefully pick up a freaking Bats shirt.
Yeah.
Love the Bats.
We can't stop here.
Yeah. Grab that, grab the Halloween tee. And who knows, maybe next year, maybe we run the Halloween t-shirt. We drop it early, run it the whole month
Right.
of October. You know,
I mean,
who knows? We'll see. We'll think about that, maybe.
Yeah.
But we got those. And then as well, guys, 2 new products available also in store. PNS's Epic Waterless Wash and TrueView Concentrate. So for those of you that like TrueView glass from the double black line,
The ready-to-use
we now have,
version.
the ready to use. Now we have the concentrate, so you can pick that up, dilute it up to 10-1, which is really cool. So
How
this
many-
product can go 4-1 or
How
up
many
to 10-1.
pints do you get out of a gallon like that?
I don't know.
A lot.
I think 40
I just know
pints
it's
or
a
something
lot.
like that. It's a lot. It is a lot. But I think it's almost 40 pints out of that gallon. It's pretty
Okay.
crazy. So save you guys a little money. Get the gallon and start mixing it up yourself. And one way you can do that easily, grab yourself a 5-gallon head pack, like a pourer jug. You can pick them up at like Walmart. You can pick them in the canned feed section. You can pick them up at food storage, any of those, and then fill this up and then fill it the rest of the way up with water. And you can pour that whole gallon in. You're running 4-1 there. Pretty sweet.
Okay.
So anyway,
Not too shabby.
so we got that. This is the last podcast for the week.
And
For the
pretty much-
podcast morning show, because
yeah.
here's what's up. We're doing our podcast. We're doing Q&A Thursday.
Right.
And then you and I are off
Yeah,
next
we're
week
out.
because we're going to be at SEMA. So next week, there's not going to be a podcast or a live Q&A. So now what you're going to do is you're going to be jumping onto our Instagram,
Yes.
onto our Facebook,
Yes.
onto our personal Facebooks and Instagrams because we're going to be posting stuff from SEMA.
Yeah.
So maybe also check out Juan. If you guys haven't added Juan as a friend
Yeah.
on Facebook, we're going to be posting stuff in the Detailing Podcast. They're the podcast discussion group. We're going to be posting stuff there. We're going to be sending stuff to Anthony for him to post on Instagram. So
I would highly
Follow us.
recommend the podcast discussion group
Yeah.
as far as like where the regular activity is going to be happening. Obviously, if you're not aware of that and you hang out on Facebook anyway, it's just a Facebook group that we made for the podcast where
Yeah.
all the relevant stuff happens. But yeah, there's a lot of fun things that pop in there. If you enjoy watching this, we recommend you go check that out.
yeah, so this week, this podcast, and then we'll have our Q&A Thursday, and then we're off for the week of SEMA.
Yeah.
Now, who's not to say?
We got
Dane and
jobs
I-
to do, man.
Dane and I in the evening, maybe we get our Zoom recorder out. We do a super
Yeah.
podcast with some of our friends that are available.
Well,
Maybe
every
we can hang
year-
out, maybe, possibly. Sometimes we do that.
It seems like every year we go to SEMA, Matt Mormon from Obsessed Garage comes over to our place, hangs out, and we wind up having a podcast
Yeah,
together.
but he's not coming to SEMA.
But he's not coming this year, so
we don't have a house.
to fulfill that role. Who knows who we might end up having instead?
No, and it might just be you, me, and Juan, and John,
yeah.
and you know, and the boys,
Could
Josh,
very well
hanging
be.
out, just kind of talking and telling a story. We don't know. We're gonna play it by ear, and hopefully we'll have something for you guys when we get back that you'll be able to listen to. But what that means is you're gonna have to wait so we can come back and tell our full SEMA recap like we
Yeah.
do. And
Everybody loves those episodes.
And we could pop in some of the videos like we've
Yeah.
done where you can kind of follow along.
Yeah.
So-
No, it's always fun, and it's it's a treat to be able to retell the story after you have a chance to kind of digest it and like, okay, here's everything that happened, and contextualize it and, give it a good narrative twist.
Well, and the other thing is we got the car.
Yeah.
So we released a teaser shot of the vehicle.
Yep.
So you guys now hopefully have an idea of what Freddie has been working on, what Tavares has been building. We are going to have that car in our booth.
Yes.
So I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to say it, but
if you watch this channel,
you saw,
can
hopefully
it out.
you saw the channel. You can watch the channel. You look at our picture, you know what's going on. So we'll have that in the booth. This year we are in the West Hall, booth 54109, I believe.
That's the big new one.
We're in the big new hall, and we're right next to Avery Dennison. So
Massive.
Super fun to be able to be next to those guys this year. Now, previously we were next to Color Lock. We were farther down. We were next to Jada Toys and Steck and all those companies. But we put in a booth change request form. So if you're wondering how that works, we filled out a booth change request, and then we basically said, hey, if anybody gives up a booth spot, we would like to be in line for someone who would take a opening, basically. We'd like to change. They only allow you one change. So our rep called and said, hey, I got your booth change request form. Where were you thinking exactly you'd like to move? And you give them probably 3 or 4 spots, and then they check and make sure, and they put in for it. And so we were able to find that spot right next to Avery Dennison, which works out because we just held an Avery Dennison training, and I just scheduled almost 3 new Avery Dennison trainings for 2022. So we'll have one in March, one in September, and then in the middle of that, we're going to have a PPF class sometime in there. So get ready to check out the Avery Dennison site as they start announcing those dates for 2022. If you've been wanting to take the vinyl wrap classes, they're already starting to pick the dates for this year, and those go quick. They sell out fast. You pay for that on the Avery Dennison website. It's $900. And it is you get about $900 worth of stuff.
Yeah,
too. So
in a long form way, you're paying for a bonus in some of the products.
You get tools, you get materials, and you get an education on it, which is really cool. So and they're fun classes. We've held 3 of them now, and they are a blast. And
everybody there
loves
to really enjoy them.
You get a lot of networking and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking this year what I'd like to try and do is maybe plan more of a I don't know, kind of a networking dinner or something that we could host just to kind of help with some of that and kind of get those people some more. So I don't know, something I'm thinking about for this year to do. To
kind of bump it up a little bit.
Yeah, but we've got those. So those things have been happening. Again, SEMA's like our biggest thing. Dane, one thing we got to do is make sure your Brooks running, your Ghost 13s are looking tip top.
Clean them up.
Get them all clean and ready to go. Yeah. Get them in the box so they can, or at least in the suitcase so they can travel. We may have to stop by Sephora, get ourselves some traveling scents.
I'll make sure to pick up some Dior Sauvage.
Ooh, very nice, Dane. I like that. Yeah.
Or sausage, as we called it.
Sausage, great stuff. But I think we got to get that going. Have you gone to you got to go to the barber? Get a haircut beforehand?
Yeah, I'm going to get
thinking if I
nice
need to
little
trim
beard cut haircut this coming weekend.
I'm debating if I should do that this week or not. I cut my hair last week, so I might just do a quick run over. But I was thinking about maybe going into like the beardsmith, getting the beard trimmed, shaped a little bit.
Are you able to get in there just like on a moment's notice? Because every time I see their stuff, they're like booked out.
I don't think so. I think I missed it. So I may have to trim it myself and hope I don't cut it.
Yeah, it always seems like they're weeks out.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Nick's right. Just call and get on the wait list. Yeah,
see what I can
you never
do.
know. Somebody might drop.
Yeah. So got to get that scheduled. I got a chiropractor appointment today.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, it's literally just this is our last week before we head out to SEMA. And I'm excited. I'm really excited.
It's exciting. It's always kind of like a weird time where you're just like, okay, I can't commit to anything too much because I know I'm going to be gone all next week. But at the same time, like, still got a lot of stuff to get done around here.
We've still got a lot of stuff to do. Yeah. But you started setting up the van to get some work done while you're gone.
Yeah. So I basically kind of bounce around, figure some things out. I got a number of things I'm doing, but playing a little car Tetris. But yeah, no, I got the van. I'm getting audio install done this week, just so I have something. Yeah. I'm not going crazy with it. It's not going to be like the
but it's better than a cassette player.
But yeah, no, a little upgrade from a Toyota cassette player from 1994 would be nice. So I'm going that route. I'm basically replacing the speakers with some newer Kenwood units, some Alpine stuff. The deck is going to be like, normally I'm not a big like Boss audio guy because it's usually kind of like, beginner stuff. But in this van, I made an exception because, yes, in this van, it's pretty Spartan, I would say. Like you're not seeing like a ton of like high luxury features or anything like that.
Yeah, if you put this in the truck, I would laugh.
I would never, ever.
Why'd you go with the Boss?
None of my cars, like I'm a Pioneer guy at heart. Pioneer has always been my thing. I love the sound and everything. That's always been my deal. But in this case, for the price point, because in the van I'm not going to blow it up crazy, for around $300, I found a good head unit that was made by Boss or Audio Planet or any number of white label ones they do, and it's a swivel one. So it's interesting because it's like a floating panel. They make a 9 or a 10-inch size screen, but it's all Apple CarPlay and all this stuff, which is cool. At that price point, you think it would be more common these days. Like, come on, just put CarPlay in all of them, but they don't. They kind of lock you out until you get to a certain price point. But this floating one is cool because it's a single DIN unit. For those who are aware of stereos, you have your single, your double, and then they have some like weird 1.5 sometimes. But it's basically the size of the box you're fitting it in. Traditionally, car stereos were single or double, depending. In this case, it's a single DIN, and then they put just like a little, bookshelf, whatever, on your second DIN that you're having in the spot. In the case of mine, where it's a double DIN unit I'm replacing. But the swivel unit plugs into the front, and it's funny. It almost reminds me of like an old 80s, 90s stereo where you could take the face off because the swivel mount front actually plugs in on the front, so you can detach it and put it away. So you can take it with you if it's in a car that you're like, But the whole point of the floating swivel setup is that in the van, my dashboard is fairly low. I have a lot of great visibility out front, but the stereo's way down there because back then they weren't really worrying about you looking at a screen. There was no reason to bother with it. It's just kind of muscle memory, like, okay, here's the dial, here's the switch, whatever. But on a screen, you kind of want to be able to like direct it up towards yourself. So having that floating screen allows me to do that.
You'll be able to look down and it'll be like right there.
And basically, like anything else, a lot of times the touch screens, you kind of worry like, okay, but volume controls on modern touchscreens drive me nuts. Like I love Pioneer, but it drives me nuts when I see all these Pioneer units and they got tap for plus, tap for minus on volume, and I just I want a knob, I want a dial. Please give me just a physical knob I can turn. I would much rather have that. So this one allows for that. It actually has a centrally located knob, as I talked about with you before, where being in a right-hand drive vehicle, most of these knobs and stuff are going to be farther away than you really want them to be because they're all designed for left-hand drive vehicles here in the States. But having a centrally located one gets it close enough. So it was all kind of strategic on my part. But it doesn't have crossover, so it's not the best stereo unit in the world. But I am putting in an aftermarket amplifier, some other stuff that'll contain some different ways of, handling audio output that is going to make it sound better than it otherwise would. So this will be nice, and it finally gives me something to listen to in the van because one of those speakers was already blown out when I got it. So it was just so-so. But this just allows for something and can enjoy it on road trips, little camping trips, all that kind of stuff. So, I mostly just wanted something for that. And then I got that hidden sub in the back, so that'll be
And then you dropped the truck off.
So I'm dropping the truck off. Wasn't real happy with that.
What'd you do? What happened?
That. Oh, God. Yeah, so my worst nightmare, this is one of the reasons that I don't want to have that truck any longer than I have to at this point. Like I love driving it. It's fun. It is. But I am not the person who would ever put 26-inch wheels on any vehicle. Truck, car, you name it. I wouldn't have done that personally myself. But that's what I got on that truck. And then rubber band tires are on top of it because they're 37-inch tires on 26-inch wheels.
There's 5 inches of sidewall on either side.
But you know what? When you're looking at it, it looks like less. Yeah. And you're pretty exposed to things you don't want to be exposed to when you don't have a lot of sidewall. So I have owned it for months now and have been like
you're a very cautious driver,
master of driving it through areas, frankly, where it shouldn't have been. Like I've gotten through areas like drive-thrus and things where there's no way I should have made it through without scraping, but I did, and I've been great. But just on a whim, one morning I was going to drop off some mail at the Meridian Post Office, And I saw the little mail lane that they have to, go through, and then you drop your stuff off in the box. I looked at that and said, no, I have to drive the truck today, but I do not want to go through that lane because I'll definitely curb the way that thing is shaped. It's way too narrow, and the turn at the end is way too tight.
Yeah. So you parked.
So I decided I'm going to go pull up street side on the curb outside of that, where the lane is, because they have parallel parking spaces.
You're a great parallel
You
parker.
just swoop in, you're good. But the way the street is situated, it angles down, and then the curb sticks out like an angry triangle almost. It just like leans, because here's the street coming down, and here's the curb, and the curb is just
Yeah, the peak of it is
not great.
Not 90 degrees.
So I am very aware of this, and I know don't get too close to the curb. Obviously, play it safe. So I'm pulling in, and just as I'm getting right near the curb, maybe an inch or two off, I suddenly hear this like dramatic like pop, and the whole truck shakes, and I'm just like, oh my God, did I pop a tire? Like, kind of freaked me out. And in that moment, a little swerve on the wheel. That's all it took. Just a little bit. And I felt that sensation, like you kind of like black out for a second, just like, oh my God, all the things it could be. And then you feel that unmistakable sensation that you are now hopping alongside a curb. Just that, because you didn't really hear it, but you could feel, and you knew it felt. There's a difference in the way a tire feels when it goes over the curb, where it's a little like more muted, it's more soft. Whereas this was like
metal on concrete.
This was a grumbly like, you're touching it, buddy. Yeah. And that was horrifying.
Oh no.
Absolutely horrifying. My worst nightmare. Probably the number one reason that I don't want to own this truck any longer than I really need to at this point, because it's an awesome truck. Anybody would be lucky to have it. They'd blow their mind if they had. They love it. That's the whole point of it.
Well, and honestly, this truck, if you were to keep it, if you were said like,
I'm a neurotic person.
But Dane, if you were like, wow, this truck fits all my needs. This is a great truck. I plan on keeping it for the next 20 years or 30 years, right? Like you're like, I'm not going to get rid of this truck. I love this truck. The first thing you would do is get
different wheels
and 37s.
Yeah.
You would change your wheel and tire pattern.
Tires could stay the same size, but the wheels would get much smaller.
Right.
And that's the hard part, is because
better, it would
the appeal to people is the big showy wheels and all that. But for me, functionally, I know that's just going to be a nightmare in the long term.
Yeah, we pull the 10-lug conversion off, go back to an 8-lug.
Moments like this are exactly why.
Yep.
And it frustrates me because I have such an impeccable driving record of never having curbed a wheel.
Dane is now that's tarnished.
And now I've ruined it.
How many points does that add to your
with
record?
This damn truck. So yeah, kind of hurt the feelings a little bit there, but it's frustrating. And of course, then like these wheels are like $2,500 a piece. It's ridiculous.
They're expensive.
These big bronze American Force things
that are custom etched. They're also say unlimited on them.
Yes, they are custom through and through. Like you can't just go order another set. And with like the supply chain issues that everybody's having right now, forget it. You wouldn't be seeing those for a while. So it just really like my heart sunk. Everything. I felt like I wanted to puke the second I knew what I'd done.
Yeah.
So I got out and I looked at it. And when I got out to look at it, I realized, okay, I reacted fast enough. Like as soon as I realized what was going on, I got off that curb immediately, like got away from it. The rear tires and wheels are fine. Nothing happened to them because the sidewall on the rear tires sticks out a little bit more. Yeah. It actually creates kind of a defensive barrier. But on the front, they have, I wouldn't say stretch, but they're just more... little more stretch, a little pullback.
Dually too. In
the
theory,
dually in the back, the tire pokes out.
Right, and the wheel kind of pokes out.
The sidewall gives you a little bit of forgiving cushion back there.
Wheel,
but on the front, it's like purely
style.
Upright and then slightly tapered back, which means the wheel is more exposed than anywhere else on the car. So that was it. But I got out, I looked, and I realized, okay, horrifying, but it's only about, I would say, 8 inches of actual damage, which is a lot. But I've seen wheels where people did the whole damn thing.
Big. On a 16, that's 18-inch wheel.
On a 16,
half the wheel.
On a 16-inch wheel, it's definitely a different story. But in this case, it's a small amount of the overall circumference of the wheel. But you can't hide it. There's
No.
no way you can hide it because they're bronze wheels.
Yeah.
And when you scrape a bronze wheel, at least these particular ones, especially like
silver.
a satin bronze, it just shines bright, shiny silver right on through. And you're like, oh, nope, can't do anything to hide that. I mean, you could just sit there and think like, do I scuff it down and then find some like bronze colored like paint?
No, you don't.
No,
'cause it's
you
black.
make it worse. Plus everybody's
Satin.
going, please God, no, Dane,
Satin
don't paint any
bronze.
more
Yeah,
wheels.
Dane.
Don't, no, Dane, no more wheels. And I get it. I understand.
So you took it down to Hubcap Annie.
I'm taking it down to Hubcap Annie, who have done work on wheels for me in the past, not because I damaged them, but just because I bought cars with rough wheels.
Coat the Jag wheels?
Yes, they also
did a good
that.
job on those.
But yeah, my first experience was when they fixed a bend in a wheel that I'd had forever since I bought the car, and they fixed it and it was great. And I was like, okay, I'll remember to go back there again when I got my wheels powder coated on the Jag, which looked great, like fantastic. They do such a good job. But I was nervous because this truck is kind of an oddball in the sense that it is so massive and the wheels are so huge. I got to figure they put limitations on the things that they're willing to do.
Yeah, you got it. You wonder if they have the equipment.
And when I walked in, my fears were met a little bit, where they go, "Oh yeah, we don't work on wheels larger than 24 inches," and I'm just like, "Oh no!" And I'm like, "Is there any chance?" And she said, "Well, hold on, I'll go grab like the boss and I'll have him come out here and he can make his own personal judgment." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you so much." So boss man comes out, cool guy, like him. He comes out and he looks, and he immediately goes like, "Damn, that's a truck." It's like, yeah, it is. And he looks at me and it's like, this yours? I'm like, well, I won it in a contest. Like I explained the scenario. He's like, okay. He goes, so can I be honest with you? I'm like, just tell me what you're going to tell me. He goes, I can't stand it when people make wheels and tires like that thin and make them stick out this much. I'm like, I totally get it. Functionally, like, it doesn't make sense. Aesthetically, yeah, it's a SEMA truck type thing. Some people like that. Other people find it to be obnoxious, whatever. I get it. But personal taste, I would not have done that because I know the kinds of problems that can happen. Exhibit A right here. And I show him. He's just like, okay, cool. And he goes, all right, so I know you're not. He's like, so I know you're not a moron. Okay, cool.
All right.
And I'm just like, all right, thanks. So he goes, you're smart. You got it. But then he's looking. He's just like, oh, yeah, this wheel. Yep. And he's looking and going, normally, vehicle this big, like we would have a shop take this off for us. We wouldn't actually do it in our back because they have the capability to do this in cars, trucks, vans, stuff like that. But this one's just a little bigger than the rest. And with the lift and all the other stuff, it's a little bit different story.
Yeah.
So I asked and I said, is there any way without removing the wheel from the vehicle, could you do maybe just like mask off and just do this one little area, something like that? And he's like, you're selling the truck? I'm like, yeah, I'm eventually going to be selling the truck. I need this to look good. It needs to be functional. It needs to hold up and all that stuff. But the reality is like, I screwed up on this area and there's just no other good way to do it without creating a whole nightmare of, you know,
this is purely custom, basically. You're asking them to do.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough oddball
you're gonna have to try
scenario.
and match that color too.
So in this guy's case, he looked at it, kind of made a few little like, okay, and he's like, I could do it. I think I could do it. And I'm like, really? And he goes, I have to figure out what color this is. We can like match it or something like that. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, I'll probably have to debead the tire around here just to make sure I can get, you know, where I need to go to get all the way around the lip of this thing. Like, okay, I understand that. So I can get another shop to like rebeat it or whatever. And just
they should be able to beat it.
Yeah.
There.
Just get it fixed again.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically said, I will do this. And he was going to do it for $300. I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was worried it was going to be more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's like, no, I think
it's cheaper than a new wheel.
I think I can do it. Oh, my God. Yeah. Vastly. But yeah, no, like I felt a little better, but I've been feeling sick for the couple of days between when it happened and when I actually went to go talk to the guys. So that made me feel a lot better. But that's what's going to happen today. So I'm very happy to have resolved that.
Good.
Hopefully it turns out fine. And I really trust that guy because they've done such good work on my other stuff.
So then what'd you do this weekend?
So this weekend, apart from that, I just went for a nice walk in the mountains. Thought it'd be nice. Took Callie out, Great Pyrenees dog.
Took the van.
And took the van up, you know, get out in the little mud a little bit, just have a little fun. Figure test out the 4-wheel drive, have a good time. Okay. Those tires are
car
no
tires,
good
out
car
there.
Tires they're just normal passenger car tires. But The 4-wheel drive does in fact work, which I'm happy to see, and the low range does work. So yeah, no, I got a little taste of that. I can't wait to actually put some like all terrains or mud terrains on it, have some fun. But that's a story for another day. I got to figure out like lifting and all that stuff. But anyway, had a nice little bit of exercise walking around up on the road while it was raining out. I don't know. I really liked the rain. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed that. And yeah, no, that was basically my weekend. Other than that, I did watch the new Dune movie, and I enjoyed that. And I heard you watched it too. Mm-hmm. What was your verdict?
Oh, I loved it.
Okay, and you read the book as a kid too. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how did you feel about like source material, faithful?
Oh, I was totally fine with it.
And so, in comparison to the David Lynch movie,
I was totally fine with that one too. Like, I like the David Lynch movie because it kind of, as a kid, it was exciting and fun, and
nostalgia kind of sticks with you after a while.
It's that nostalgia. You go back and you watch it, and I watched it on Friday night, and I was like, the
spice must flow.
It's pretty funny. Like Baron Harkonnen's character is just crazy and maniacal, and Sting just smiles at the camera a lot and stretches his arms.
I always forget Sting's in that movie.
it's kind of funny, and Kyle MacLachlan is great as Paul. Like, but the inner thoughts that they all have, I think is hilarious that they all do that in this movie, and I don't know why, but it was just funny. So Carly and I started to watch Dune Friday night, the new Dune on HBO Max. We got 5 minutes into it, and Carly said, "Let's stop." I said, "What?" She goes, "I want to watch this on a big screen."
Yeah, no, it's the kind of movie that
and I said,
warrants
all right.
seeing it.
So we look, and we found that there's that we called Carly's mom the next morning and said, "Could you watch the kids at 11:30 on Sunday? We're going to go to the movie." Yeah. So we made time to go there, and we went and saw it in IMAX. Nice. Which was really good. And just watched the movie there, and I loved every bit of it. I'm 100% in on it. And like I was telling you, Dane, like I was that kid that liked Dune, the lore of Dune better than Star Wars. And because there's still so much stuff that's unknown in Dune that they never get around to asking. So I feel like it could have probably been built upon more and more.
But there's a lot of opportunity for lore and world building and stuff.
But that was me as a kid. I always I like Star Wars, but I really like the Dune story better. And so for me, it's a lot of nostalgia. And one thing that I was like kind of leery about, but really good. They did a great job, and they, there was enough to satisfy me all the way through. And very excited that it's a part one, and now that they're going to do more. I'm very excited to see that.
The one downside is you're going to have to wait a while.
Yeah, that's the only problem.
Because they didn't film them simultaneously or anything. And, because they know when Denny, however you want to say his name, makes a movie,
it could have been
they
a flop
are
too.
Gorgeous, they are fantastical, they're amazing to watch, but they're not always big at the box office. And that's the part that's hard. Like Sicario was fantastic, Arrival's fantastic. Yep. I love Blade Runner 2049. You do not. But
so I love Sicario, and I love
the original Blade Runner.
But I like Sicario, and I liked what did you say the other one was?
Arrival.
Arrival. I liked those movies. I had no problems with them. I thought they were great, and I love Sicario.
Sicario's
love
great.
Sicario. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great story, and so I wasn't worried. I just felt when he did Blade Runner, he cut a lot of stuff, and there was just too many dead spots. Like too many. Like he makes
a slow burn.
I love slow burn movies. Yeah. I don't have a problem with slow burn movies. It's the fact when they take it too slow.
Sure.
And you're like, oh my gosh. Like there's a point where you can hold someone's tension and hold their like edge of the seat kind of thing.
And there's other parts where you're looking like this isn't serving.
And there's other parts where you're like, come on, man, like speed it up. This is not the time.
I think for
slow
me,
it down.
The reason I didn't mind some of those slow parts in 2049 so much is because I was just so like in awe of the visuals at times where it was just like this movie is incredible.
Like there are slow burns in Sicario.
Oh yeah.
There are pauses.
But that movie, when it gets going.
Yeah, when it's going, it's going. But when it's slow, it's still intriguing because you're like you're kind of trying not to breathe. Like you're trying to hold your breath.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes like they try to do a slow burn and it exceeds you holding your breath. and it gets to where you're like, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Well,
like,
and I think, and this might just be me, but I think you can probably relate to this. Is like in the case of Sicario, I could watch that anytime, be happy with it. But with like Blade Runner or Blade Runner 2049, those movies are quintessential rainy day movies to me, where you gotta be in the right mood to watch them and enjoy them.
100%.
Unlike some of this other stuff where it's like easily digestible, you can pick it up. With those movies, I feel like they're amazing when you're in the right mood for them. Yeah. Otherwise, you kind of feel like, just kind of, my brain's elsewhere. I'm not as,
So I was the kid that I didn't have
involved.
ADD and I didn't have ADHD or anything like that. My dad had ADD really bad. And
those are not movies for him.
So, so like I would watch movies with and my dad loves movies, but he likes them to be snappy and fast. If they're too slow, he gets bored with them real quick. And he's like, yeah. And so I grew up that way knowing that. But my wife has ADD, but she's also a film buff.
So it's two parts at odds in her brain are saying like,
because she can hyper-focus on a movie.
Like this.
She can hyper-focus on a movie that's very slow. And I would be surprised because I was like, this is a movie my dad can't watch. How are you able to watch it? And she's like, because I love this. She finds other elements. Like my wife should have been a film critic.
She would probably pick up on like the nuance of stuff.
No,
whereas like other
wife
people,
she will dig you a grave, Dane, if you try to get into a movie discussion with her.
I love that. No, that's great.
She is an amazing person in that sense. Like she knows everything about everything.
No, that's
awesome. And that's fun to have because that's something that I like to a certain level that I can do. She'll put me like she makes me feel dumb a lot of the times on movies because of that kind of stuff. And, and then we laugh because I've got family that they go, man, did you watch this movie? And it's like the worst movie ever made. And they're like, I paid full price on a DVD for it because I wanted to watch it. And I go,
Jack and Jill was great.
I go, why did you just rent it for $2 to see if you liked it or not instead of paying $30? Oh, it's because I love everything this actor does. And it's that kind of thing where I go, okay, well,
so you're blinded.
I'm not going to talk about
bias.
Movies to somebody like that.
Right.
There
are things where you have an actor you like or something, but you'll watch a movie and you'll just be like, I can't defend this. It was not good, at least to my sensibilities, but I always realize this stuff is subjective. Yeah, some things are a little more objectively bad or good.
I'm a movie snob. I'll say it right now.
But you could still be snobby about it. Where there's movies that are clearly like trying to be like the Oscar bait type movies, and you look and you go, I know what they were trying to do, but this is not a good movie. Like those exist.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Yin yang.
But like it's just that same thing, and it happens even like now with streaming services and like Netflix making a movie or Prime making a movie or something. Like they
might look
Carly
the part,
and I check. Carly and I do the research and learn about the movie prior to watching something like that. Where one of my family members just watches it.
Wow, it's great.
Whoa, it was kind of bad. Like they'll say that.
Really?
It's not a good movie. You guys shouldn't watch it. It actually is not very good. And we're like, yeah, I know, because all we did was do a quick Google search and saw that it got a 1% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think that's why I was so bothered when I kept telling him to watch John Wick. Yeah. And then instead of watching John Wick, he goes and watches John Wick 2 on an airplane with his phone, with a headphone. Yeah. It's like, oh, no. And then he tells me he didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you have to watch it. Okay. Yeah. But I'll get mad at anybody who says those aren't good movies. They are effective at what they do. Incredibly effective, clear storytelling.
Well, Dane, you know me. I love my movies.
Yeah.
I have my Fire 10, my Amazon Fire 10, that I bought solely for watching movies on airplanes.
And you do. I see it every time we fly.
And it's so that I have a good 10-inch screen.
Normally you have like Peaky Blinders playing on it or something.
I have a number of different series. I download everything the night before, get it all ready to rock, so I have my own thing that I can watch if I don't want to watch what's on the airline. Make sure I got my noise canceling headphones so I'm listening in
the zone.
Comfort and I can enjoy myself instead of trying to watch my movies on my phone like Anthony does.
Yeah.
That drives me nuts. because I can't see. I don't feel like I'm getting enough of it.
No.
I need to have it as much of an immersive experience, So, but no, that's it was good. It was fun to see. People clapped at the end. It was great. We had a good time. Carly enjoyed it. She loved it. I think we'll probably be watching it again.
No,
in the house.
Totally understand.
So you went and saw Dune. What else did you do?
Saw Dune. Other than that, I had my cousin Lauren in town, so we all hung out there. And last night we all got together briefly, had some get together with my Aunt Gwen, Bob, and then they all came over and we kind of had like a birthday, not a birthday celebration, because everything's been so topsy-turvy the last few months that we haven't really been able to have our normal, like, every couple of months they do a collective birthday where the family gets together and they're like, all right, here's all the birthdays, celebrate.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was just like a brief little get-together before Lauren had to go to the airport. But then Lauren got to the airport about 9 o'clock at night or so, and I guess they delayed or canceled her flight or whatever, so then she ended up having to go get picked up again, so that wasn't fun. I guess she was flying Southwest, if I recall.
Yeah, so
with the current Southwest stuff going on.
So that's our only worry is because we're flying Southwest.
I know, and
down to Vegas,
I realize
6 a.m., so hopefully they don't cancel our flight. Fingers
iffy.
crossed, knocking on as much wood and particles and products as we can.
Yeah.
No, that actually happened. So Charlie Trujillo, who the Avery Dennison instructor, so when he left on Thursday, he left to go get on his plane. Right, he left us here, left at noon, headed out to go hop on his flight at 3 o'clock. Sitting there, got delayed till 5, then got canceled.
Oh, that's the worst feeling when you're like, I'm delayed, but we're going to get out of here. I'm good. I'll wait.
Yeah,
it'll be fine. And then they cancel.
I had that happen once while I was in Memphis. It did that. I went and got on another flight to America. I was able to get American Airlines or something to fly me home. But so he was stuck overnight, had to go get a hotel room, then came back the next morning because they rescheduled the flight for like 10 a.m.
Sure.
He spent the entire day Friday in the airport.
What?
His flight to Salt Lake was at 10 a.m. So he hopped on the flight from Boise to Salt Lake.
That is a short flight.
45 minutes.
Very short flight.
Landed in Salt Lake. Went to go get on his flight to Oklahoma City. Delayed.
Now, they were on the tarmac during all these
9
delays.
p.m.
Wait, hold on. So he got on the plane what time?
No, he landed, had like a 2-hour layover in Salt Lake.
Okay.
So 10 to 1
or
noon. Then from noon on, he was delayed for another 9 hours.
Jeez.
Yeah. He's like, I was over it. I'm home now.
Yeah.
I was texting him on Saturday, and I was like, hey, man, just wanted to say thanks. Appreciate all the hard
it's
work.
one thing to be a little impatient and just people get antsy, whatever. It's like, fine, just have a little patience. But when something like that happens, oh, no, you have every right in the world to be annoyed. But at the same time, in a lot of these cases, the crew don't necessarily have anything to do with that.
Rescheduled for? Was it next morning?
What's that?
Lauren's flight, was it rescheduled for the next morning? Or
I believe so, but I didn't get the follow-up because Liz and I left for the night before she got back. So, I assume that's the case. I assume that she's going over this morning because she works at a hospital, and she was supposed to be there Monday morning to work at the hospital. So, kind of hope for her sake that she's able to do that. But it sounded like the planning was going to put her there sometime around 11 or noon San Diego time. So, I don't know. Crazy. We'll see.
Yeah.
But, hopefully for her sake it worked out. That was the extent of my weekend. Nothing too crazy, but enjoyed all those little bits and pieces. And then the last thing is, as far as the van goes, I'm just having a little mechanical work done on it while we're at SEMA. So should have some belts and pulleys fixed up by the time we get back. It'll be a little less squeaky, and I'll be happy. And then I got some wrap stuff to look forward to.
Yeah,
I'm looking at wrapping it. So talk with the guys at Creative.
That'll be cool. Hopefully you can get the colors, because that's the other thing is everyone's running out of colors.
Well, the beauty of it is mine requires black and white, and that's about it. No, it's not a zebra.
That's good.
But you can probably do the math as to what other options there are for a Toyota from... It's a 94, but it was developed in the 80s, so you get it. You figure it out. All right.
Oh, Dane, my weekend was pretty easy. The rain really it sucks. So I've got
Threw a wrench in it.
The hard part is with my kids, Dane. For you can sit, put on a movie, chill out, drink some fine liqueurs.
I like driving in the rain.
Yeah, so with children,
it's not as
they get antsy when they don't have movement. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like putting your dog in a kennel. You know, she's going to start getting a little huffy if she can't walk around a little bit.
Yeah.
Only the kennel is the house in my case. And
put a raincoat on, let them play outside or something. Get a little muddy.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal. You go, just put a jack, go to play.
They're kids.
I want to play on the computer. I don't want to do this. Like, I want to play on the TV. I want to watch this.
Screens.
Yeah, it's a lot of screens. And the hard part is they play too much on screens. They get angry.
Oh, right.
It's very strange because if you think about like how much screen time you have every day personally.
Yeah, I have a lot of screen time, but I get angry during screen time for different reasons.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, if I came up
really
and said,
stupid sometimes.
I said, Dane, it's time to turn off the TV, it's time to turn off your computer.
Right.
No more, you need
but
to take a break.
I look at that as like, relief. Okay,
Right.
we're going to go do something that doesn't involve me looking at the screen for a while now.
And I know a lot of people can attest to this. For some reason, the kids get, and even if you're like, hey, 5 more minutes and you're done, okay, got 5 minutes, wrap it up. They're like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
When you finally get them off, they're not happy. They're kind of junkies on that. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, they're having withdrawals.
Yeah, they start going through so anyway, so we try to keep them from getting on the computer, and we try to keep them from even going that way because it automatically resets.
You're not looking to start that process.
Right. So Saturday was really rainy. So Friday night we just kind of hung out. I started sanding the roof of that Thunderbird. I actually got some seat time.
Right, yeah.
Sanding the roof. And then Saturday morning woke up, got ready with the kids, and then I went back out and worked on the roof some more, blocking it with some 2000 and 3000. Did a couple test spots. Oh, holy cow. That flake pops. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Look amazing.
It looks insane, dude, when I started cutting it out.
It's buried in that purple,
Oh,
right?
it's so nuts. It's in the roof is silver. And it's
I'll
show
the white
you
color,
pictures.
is that white or is that silver?
The white is a pearl white.
Okay, so it does have some depth to it.
But the roof is silver.
Oh, so it's a different color than the other light parts.
The roof is boat flake, 3 sizes of flake,
boat flake,
and purple on the roof, and chrome.
Gosh.
And so I started with the roof because it's the most difficult and most flattest part, right?
Huh.
Like next to the top and bottom of the trunk and hood.
Right.
And the car's low and it's got some shapes to it.
Yeah.
So I can kind of cheat a little. I don't have to go super dead flat on there because of the way the angles are on the body.
You focus on the parts that are
shown. But
shown
I'm focusing on the top. I have to focus heavily on the top panels because that's where people's eyes are going to go.
They're pretty
straight.
broad too, so you get a good look at it.
Yeah, and so worked on those, got them cleaned up, and then we left the house about 11. Mm-hmm. Headed down to the Idaho Center in Nampa for a Monster Jam.
Yeah.
So me and Hadley and Augie and my dad headed to Monster Jam, and the 1 o'clock show. So there's us getting ready to start, and Augie is a monster.
Yeah,
truck
look at those eyes.
freak.
He is like beaming.
So I got about 100 hugs.
Oh man,
he was just so happy from everything. So we got to watch the monster trucks do their thing in the Idaho Center Arena to a very light crowd.
I was
going to
say, it looks like there's a decent crowd on the other parts of the stadium, but next to you, it looks like it's just no man's land.
No, it was great. Where we were, we had plenty of room, plenty of open space. So Gravedigger's getting ready to do some donuts here, and I was standing there with Og, and you feel that in your chest.
Oh no, it's like a dragster. Essentially, you feel that vibration.
Yeah, we got as close as we could to that to get the dirt on us, and that's right there at the end. And there's Augie, he's jazzed. He could not contain himself. How much fun that was. The other one was when they all came out. So the other video I sent to Nick is when they all come out at one. They call it out, and then they all come out from underneath us, and they fill that arena. And Tom from Buff Bright was there, sitting across from me right there on the other side. And he was waving at me and texted me.
Oh yeah, so no, that's loud as hell when they're all going.
Yeah, when all six were going round and round, it was great. Just filled the place. They were like, "Who's ready for Monster Jam?" And the blue truck there the driver was from Boise, Idaho. So
cool.
So that second to last truck. So that was cool. So everyone was cheering for him too, when they said Boise's own. So that was cool. So Augie loved that because his ultimate dream is to become a monster truck driver.
Oh, that's where
that's his goal. It's been his goal for about 3 years.
Well, I was trying to figure out how much has changed because did you go to monster truck shows when you were a kid?
Yes. Okay. So when I was 7, my dad and I went to 7 years old. We went to the pavilion down, and what it was originally they were going to do it outside in the football field at the Bronco Stadium.
Yeah.
And they were changing out the turf, and they were getting ready to put in the blue turf. They're getting rid of the green turf, and they're putting in the blue turf.
What year would this have been?
So 87.
Okay.
And so they were going to do it outside, and they were going to do tractor pulls, and they were going to do car crushing.
Well, see, that's what I wanted to ask was a lot of times these monster truck show events, at least when I went as a kid, they would have like these kind of warm-up acts where they would have, usually it was like kids on dirt bikes or some kind of motocross thing, or my favorite were the rollover cars where they would set up a one-side wheel ramp for cars to basically just go into the dirt in the middle of the place, and they would flip the car and see how many times I could roll it.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite thing.
So they did. So they were going to do it there, but it was pouring rain or something, and they canceled it, and they moved it inside to the pavilion. So my dad and I went to the pavilion, and
I'm just imagining that happening in the pavilion because that location is more.
It's very small.
Yeah.
So they did it in the pavilion, and they had probably 5 trucks total. And they had a couple drag racers, a couple dirt dragsters that they were going to run.
I was going to say, what are they going to do in the pavilion?
They drove them around in circles. It wasn't anything crazy.
Okay.
But the trucks, they crushed the cars. Mm-hmm. And so, because they couldn't go very fast back then.
Right. So you just show up by crunching them.
Yeah, you just drive over the cars and hopefully get some air. And I remember Gravedigger broke. While it was driving over, it broke, and that was back when Dennis Anderson was actually driving it. And I remember it broke down. I remember we got to walk down to the pits afterwards.
Yeah,
I remember I got a picture of myself standing in the wheel of the Iron Butterfly.
Oh yeah,
and I thought that had the coolest paint job. That and USA 1 were my favorites. But USA 1,
I remember USA 1.
He used to run a $high motor. And he had that tilt hood because of how much money he had in that engine, and that was what set him apart. His truck was really fast, but he had so much money in that he was really a delicate driver. Where Dennis Anderson had a smaller motor, but he just balls out.
Well, that's what was cool about during the era you were watching him in was. Yeah. Everything was a little more janky, loosey-goosey, kind of figuring stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
Still, they've been doing it since
they were still leaf springs.
70s and 80s, but they were just... They weren't at that point where it had become homogenized like NASCAR style these days.
No,
like
now
in the 90s and 2000s, you start to see that happen in the 90s, and then 2000s, it was like all locked in. Most of them are pretty similar.
Yeah, now it's basically
it's safety.
There's one manufacturer that makes all the chassis for all the trucks,
and that's to be expected. Granted, they're more agile than they've ever been because they do the stunts and stuff. Yeah. When they started introducing that, I remember seeing them on TV and going, they didn't do that when I was watching them.
Yeah, well, and I used to watch them on TV. I loved it, and it was one of those things that like I remember. But what I was laughing with my dad was we're sitting in there, and we had our masks on, and I took my mask off when I was taking a drink of soda, and I was like, I can't smell any of the methane in the air.
Interesting.
Like they're running, that was a big part. They're running so clean, it didn't smell. And my dad was like, took his mask. He's like, oh yeah. Because 2 years ago, we could smell, we were sitting in the same seats as we were 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we could smell the methane.
Yeah, it's like somebody just pulled the evap off. And you hear it. You smell everything.
You could smell it, but they're running, and even then, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But I remember being 7 with my dad.
Oh, yeah.
And that pavilion reeking of exhaust.
Oh, yeah.
Reeking to the point that people were getting nauseous.
Oh, yeah. That's how I remember it as a kid. But you know
just
what? You loved it as a kid. You're just like, I am losing brain cells.
You get so high, and
Doesn't
you got
matter.
those engines flying, and it was good. But yeah, so we did that. Did that till about 2:30, then got back in the truck and drove back home.
Yeah.
And it was the hard part for the kids was it was an hour there and an hour back.
Okay.
You know, Nampa's only 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
But I had to drive to pick up my dad, which is over here, which is a 20-minute drive.
And then you got
And then
traffic.
from here to Nampa, it's 30 minutes. And so that was the hard part. So when my kids finally, like, they were getting tired, so we get home, and Marcus and Sid came over to look at the Thunderbird because they just wanted to, wanted to drop off some starter cash and then just watch, take some pictures. And so I showed him the roof. I showed him my before and after and where I sanded and what I'm doing and why I'm knocking this down. And Sid was like, wait, it's going to get better? Like, and I said, yeah. And he's like, I thought it looked great. I thought he goes, sorry, because it's his son that painted it.
Okay.
And so he's like, I look at him like, dang, I can't believe my son did such a good paint job on this. And Marcus is like, Dad, there's garbage in the paint. Like, there's still a bunch of defects I need out that Levi needs to sand out. And so I was just showing him some of the spots. I was like,
that's always fun to show, though. When somebody's convinced, like, it can't look better than this. This looks great.
Yeah.
And then you show them it really can look better.
Yeah. So I showed him that part, and he was like, holy cow, it's going to look like this. And I said, well, I've still got to sand it again. And he's like, you do? And I was like, yeah, there's a couple spots here that I'm not happy with, so I'm going to sand it. And he was like, I'm so happy with what this looks like right now. I can't even imagine. Like, look how bright it is. And so that's a good feeling when you get to that point where you're like, you're improving everything. Yeah. Right? So, and it's one of those jobs like where I'm at on it, like I'm just going to make it better. Mm-hmm. I know that personally. But then on top of that, I know the customer is going to be able to see, they're going to see a bit more of a brightness to it. But it was fun to know that he was already ready to rock and roll. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, I'm doing this just fine then.
Now you're blowing minds.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to be good.
But that was good. And then, so they stopped by Saturday night. Carly and I hung out. We're still trying to cut through The Sopranos. Still trying to get those through down. Yeah. We're into season 4, episode 7.
Okay.
And then Sunday, got up, got dressed, made breakfast, and then me and Carly went to the movie on the way back from Dune, stopped, grabbed ourselves some ice cream, got home. Our mother-in-law watched, Carly's mom watched the kids. Mm-hmm. And then it was just, I was going to go out after the movie and work on the car.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the rain. I don't know if it was just like the fact that I just got and saw a movie, had some ice cream, I put my pajamas on.
Your brain was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was about, because it was about 2 o'clock, 2 or 3, and I was just like, man, I'm going to just chill out today. And then Carly asked after I took Augie to the store and we got a couple things, ran a couple errands. She was like, are you going to work on the car? And I said, yeah, I think I'm going to work on it tomorrow night. So tonight, I'll go work on it tonight. But I was like, man, I don't want to do it tonight. Like, and the crazy thing is that clear, when I was sanding it on Saturday morning, I was literally talking to myself, or Friday night, I was talking to myself going, this is nice. This clear is nice. Like I was sanding it. I was like, man, I'm in love with this clear. It's perfect. It's perfectly aged. There's like 7 coats of clear on there.
I was going to say, there's enough
There's a ton of clear. It's perfect. It's not soft. It's not too hard. It's Goldilocks, right? It's just perfect. It's just where I want it to be. So it's easy. It's not difficult. It's not like, oh, God, I can't get this thing out. Like I'm not fighting anything. I'm just like, wipe it a couple times. Oh, that's gone. Wipe a couple. Oh, that's gone. Like it's just so nice. Easy. So it was just like, I was just tired. I wanted to chill out. And I think the rain really because for me, my career, a rainy day meant we're going to a movie.
Right.
Because I used to work at a car wash for years.
Yeah.
Like the first 5 years of my...
rainy day, nobody's coming in here.
5 years. First 5 years of my career period as a detailer or in the automotive reconditioning was a rainy day meant the car wash was closed. If it was a really rainy day, then we were closing. If it was a partially rainy day, it meant we were going to be just chilling out all day.
You knew you'd get like 1 or 2 people coming through.
Yeah, it was going to be a light, easy day, and maybe we're going to get off early. Because it'd get to a point where it'd exceed a time where if our car count wasn't enough for the rain, then we just close down and take the day off.
Because it's more expensive to run when no one's going through.
Right. So Me and my brother, Pat, who is my best friend, basically, he's my best friend. We, the two of us were working at the car wash together.
Yeah.
And my buddy Connor, who lives in New York, like that was what we did. We'd show up on a rainy day, the three of us, and we'd hang out. We were always there, and then we'd watch it, and we'd hang out for about an hour, see what traffic we got. If there wasn't any, we'd call everybody and say, hey, we're closed. Take the day off. We'll see you tomorrow. And we would just close the car wash. And then we're like, let's go get breakfast. And usually we'd have an old man, Herb, who used to run the cash register. She was an old World War II vet and would just tell us the funniest stories. He was 17, and he stormed Normandy.
Oh, jeez.
And stormed Omaha Beach. Like, he was part of that.
Yeah.
And he was 17, joined the military. So we'd go and, like, have breakfast with him. The four of us would go get breakfast, and he usually would buy us breakfast. And it was fun because he'd tell us war stories. He'd tell us, just party night stories that he'd have from back in the day. And that was always fun. And then it was like, he's like, well, I'm going to go home. And then the three of us go, well, what are we going to do? It's noon. And then we go, let's go to a movie. And we just go to a movie. And so that was always fun. Like, I always enjoyed, it was like a free day off.
Yeah.
That you weren't planning on, but it was that. So rainy days were always like a good day for me. Like, I always enjoyed looking forward to those days because they're few and far between. And so they always kind of felt like that, take it easy. I still, 25 years later, still feel like that. Like, I don't really want to do anything. I'm going to keep my pajamas on all day. So it was fun. Sunday was really fun. I made French toast, took the wife to a movie, got some ice cream, came back home, just chilled out, hung out with the kids, and, just relaxed. So that's super cool weekend, super great, fun weekend. It was good because next weekend is going to be kind of I'm going to work on the car, but I'm also going to try and make sure everything's packed, get ready because we leave 6 a.m. Monday morning.
Well, and it's a different scenario this year because we're flying, which we normally take a car, so it's always
normally we'd be leaving on Friday.
Preparing for stuff, you can always fit more stuff in the car. When you're flying, you got to be a little more strategic about it. So, there's that element.
But for those of you guys wondering, and those of you that may be attending SEMA, feel free to please stop by, come say hi to us, come check out the booth, come check out the car, come hang out with us. If you're in town, we're going to be staying at the Westgate. Mm-hmm. So if you're staying at the Westgate, let us know what room you're in, and we can all hang out. Maybe we'll do super chat.
Would John let us take a few of those Halloween stickers down there with us for people who might come by?
If there's any left over, yes, Dane.
Yeah, it depends. But you know what? It's worth coming by if you really want one of those. We might be able to hand you one, depending on if we get any.
Yeah, if we have some left over.
Otherwise, we got TRC stickers.
We'll have those. We also have we're going to have our own branded masks. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're going to be giving them away, though.
Right. Those may be just a us thing.
Yeah. So you never know, but it's going to be a good time. I'm excited this year. I think it's going to be fun. I like the smaller crowd.
It's going to be different.
I think the smaller group for you and me, I think that'll be we'll be a little more mobile instead of like 2 years ago when there was 13 of us. I think this will be a little more fun and it's a little lighter.
A little more flexibility.
Yeah. But I am looking forward to tacos and beer for lunch on Monday.
Yes, please.
I'm very excited about that. So we should be good. But
yeah, I think we'll have fun with it. So I guess we're pretty much caught up. Yeah. Unless there's anything you want to add.
That's it. Just we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Yep.
And then remember, we're taking the week off because we'll be at SEMA. So
we'll
make
do
sure
other live stuff.
Yeah, we will.
You can find us on Instagram.
It's just
and Facebook,
SEMA gets so crazy that it's not even.
There's just no way we could guarantee a time slot because so much stuff moves around during that week. If we promised something and we couldn't do it, we'd feel bad about it. So we'd rather just not promise anything.
Yep.
So that's pretty much that's what you get. But there's going to be a lot of cool stuff to see, and I can't wait to see what SEMA is like this year. Just because with everything being the way it is. It's going to be a different world there than it normally is.
I think it's going to be like SEMA 2010.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's going to be
The weird part is physically it will be larger, but the number of people there will be smaller. It's going to feel like walking around like one of those dying malls or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It might. But, you never know.
Could be. So
we'll see.
We'll find out, guys, all together. But with that said, tune in this Thursday on the main Rag Company channel as you catch us for the Q&A. Do we have any guests happening this week?
I know
or is
of.
it just us?
We'll see.
All right, we'll play
Tune
it by
in.
ear.
You never know.
Guess you'll find out with us there too. All right, so Obviously, make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already. Do so. And if you're new to the show, hi there. And thank you so much for being here. If you want detailing questions answered, though, Q&A is your thing.
Yeah.
Go over to the Rag Company YouTube channel and look for Q&A Thursdays. Coming up this Thursday, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time is the normal time for those. So that's it, guys. We'll catch you later. Have a good one.
See ya.